I just don't understand. Like, this only happens to me when we're just sitting here trying to have a good time. I have to cut out so many coughs.
All right, what if we pretended we were gonna have a bad time? Will that help?
Hello, and welcome to WayTooBroad, a show and tell program for really, really ridiculously excited grown-ups. I'm Hannah, and these are my co-hosts, Erin and Ben. Hi, Erin.
Hey, Hannah. Hi, Ben.
Hello. How are you all?
Did you say, how are you all?
How are you all?
That's the first time you've ever asked us how we are. I literally have no memory.
I can't believe that's true.
Well,
like, ever in our whole lives with each other?
Ever. You never cared
and
about
I've been
me.
dying for you to ask, because I've been terrible.
She's sneezing.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Thanks, Ben.
Oh, okay. Jack's here now.
I knew he'd cause a scene.
Jack, it has more impact if you do it later on.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
It's having some good impact right now,
Yeah, that's true.
I gotta say.
Maybe he knows better than I do when the most impact will be had.
Yeah. He's a cat. He really knows how to get in the way.
Yeah. Jack is in here. He's sitting on the printer.
He's
having a great
bobbing.
time.
He's bobbing.
Yeah, looking at a ghost.
See, now we're having a good time. But I want to talk about cats, because do you remember a while ago I told you guys that there was a neighbor cat? Did I talk about this on the podcast? Our neighbor cat, Captain Speckles. Does that name sound familiar?
I think you have. Because I think I remember you telling me that name, and I asked you how you knew that name, and you said it was on her collar.
Yes.
But that might have been in the Slack.
It might have been in the Slack.
Like, I remember hearing you say that.
But
we should do, what are you drinking first, Ben?
I have two drinks.
It looks interesting.
I got
a
nice spiced apple cider, which I've just
looks delicious.
been drinking a bunch of because it's so good. Trader Joe's has such good cider.
It's a little effervescent. Is that just from pouring it aggressively?
It's just from pouring it hard. I shake it first too because the spices like settle at the bottom, and so I like to get them all around the thing. And then I got ice water.
Where'd that ice come from?
Listen, so for a long time there was no ice, and I gave up on it. And then today, just on a whim, I opened the freezer and actually like checked the ice thing, and it was full. So what I think happened was that when I first moved here, I used all the ice really quickly because I drink a ton of ice water, and then it's just like too slow for me. So it produced it, but slowly, and me not using it over the past like month has made it so there's plenty now for me to use in like 3 days, and then it's all gonna be gone again.
Wow.
It's like it's kind of funny because you, by your own admission, live with like 4 other people. And if you had maybe spoken to one of them, you might have figured this out
apparently none of them use ice because there was so much in there.
I guess, or maybe because you weren't like draining it anymore.
I don't feel like this mystery is solved.
Okay.
We're kind of speaking on this as if this is like case fucking
Well, here's
closed.
the thing: is I'm gonna keep using that ice, and we'll see if it happens again.
Yeah, we'll see, won't we?
Can I see the ice again, please?
You want to see the ice?
Let's hear it crinkle.
Okay.
Let's hear it clinkle.
Clinkle.
There's not a lot left. It melted a lot.
It does look like Ice Maker ice, though.
It is ice maker ice.
That.
It's the same ice as before.
We're running the investigation here, mister.
Okay. Well, that's some data.
All right. We'll circle back on this next week and see what we see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In the meantime, if we have any questions, we know where to find you.
Yeah,
Don't leave the state. Oh, you're gonna.
Oh, you're gonna. We're gonna have to bring you to Boston for questioning.
Yeah.
In this ice case.
Yeah. The ice case.
In this cold case.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Thank you.
I'm drinking a really gross seltzer.
Oh, what's gross about it? You still out of juice?
I'm still out of the fizzy, yes. And...
But doesn't that just make it water, not gross seltzer?
Doesn't it make it fizzy now?
No, this is from the store. This is Target's new brand of seltzer, which is, I forget the brand name, but it's, the flavor is peach ginger, which should be...
I don't like that.
I feel like it should be good. Like, I've had good peach seltzers before, but it's like, it's as if the flavor of peach that they chose was like a slightly overripe peach.
Do you remember there was a podcast episode where I was drinking that and I made it abundantly clear that I didn't like it?
Really?
Yeah, I was drinking it. It was like a whole thing because Molly had gotten it for me because I liked because I got like the Trader Joe's ginger so much and I didn't like it and I was drinking it just so it would be out of our fucking house. But I kept every time I opened one I was like, I appreciate your thought. I don't like this. You're gonna see me drinking this. I don't like it. I'm just drinking it so it won't be here anymore. So I don't have to look at it anymore.
I'd rather look at it as pee-pee.
That's what it deserves to be.
I'm drinking this so my body will turn it into piss.
Yeah. It's the ultimate way to piss on something is to make it piss. Anyway.
Piss it out.
Yeah, so I hate that stuff.
Yeah, well, good.
I don't
Solidarity.
feel like peach and ginger sounds that good together to me.
It's not.
Yeah.
Like, you think generally?
Case closed.
I thought you were saying in particular this peach flavor is, like, really bad.
It's poorly executed. If they go well together, it's a poorly executed way to do it.
I mean, I think it could be fine. I really think it's the peach flavor that throws it off for me.
It's like peach lotion. It's like really sweet peach lotion.
Oh. It's not good.
It's not good.
It's not a good flavor.
It's a no-no.
Yeah. Erin, what are you drinking?
I've got 3 kind of drinks here.
Oh.
I've got a big thing of ice water. I've got a black cherry seltzer. And I've got, like, a little cup of skim milk because I'm eating some cookies I made.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What kind of cookies?
They're those thumbprint cookies, like a kind of shortbread cookies with a thumbprint and jam in the center.
Oh, I love those.
Wow.
Yeah, they're really fucking good. I made them the other night just on a whim, and it was awesome.
Although, not a cookie I would drink with milk normally, I feel like.
I drink cookies with milk.
Like you dip, or just have to have milk drinking with it? Drinking with it?
I'm not dipping.
Okay.
I'm drinking. Drinking with it.
Gotcha. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Did I ever tell you how Kylie has to have milk with pancakes?
Yeah.
Like, if we have the ingredients for pancakes, but we don't have milk, we'll rule out pancakes for breakfast.
It's a little extreme, this dogma of hers. But I have heard of it.
Have you?
Basically.
I never have.
Yeah. Well, no, I've heard you've literally said this on the podcast, which is totally fine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Okay.
I figured.
Can I tell you about Captain Speckles now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Wow, we strayed a long ways.
No, that's okay. We had to do what we had to do. Yeah. Jack's on my lap now.
Wow.
That's nice. So, yesterday morning, when I was leaving for work, I saw Captain Speckles come running up towards me from our backyard. And she has basically claimed not just our yard now, but now the entire perimeter of our house all the way up to the door as safe property for her to walk on. So when she came down to me, she actually walked right over our side porch to get to me. And then, when I petted her for a while and she was being super friendly and adorable. And then, when I got in the car, she knows the sound of a car starting and she knows it's dangerous. So she runs off when the car starts, which is a great trait in a cat.
Yeah.
And,
awesome.
And she not only ran off, but she actually ran off and sat on our front porch and just watched me drive off. It was so
nice.
cute.
Wow.
Yeah, and then that same day, yesterday when I got home from work, I spotted her sitting like a ways down the street next to like a neighbor's like basketball hoop, I think right in front of her house where she lives. And I just like, on a whim to see if she would come, I just yelled, "Captain!" like down the street. And she kind of like glanced over, but it didn't seem like she was coming. So I started unpacking my stuff. But when I got back out, like looked back over, she was like a little bit closer, and she was kind of like just slowly like just, you know, ambling over to me. And so, then like I dropped my stuff inside, and by the time I got back out, she was like in the front yard, like ready for more pets.
Captain
It was very
Speckles.
sweet. Yeah, we're becoming buddies. Wow. And she still likes Ian too, so she's just like she's my favorite neighbor.
Is she the reason that your cats currently have fleas, though?
You know, I asked her about that, and she denied it.
Captains never tell.
Yeah. Ian thinks they could have just, like, been in our yard and ridden in on him, but I saw her scratching once, but she didn't have, like... Jack poor buddy, has been scratching his neck a lot, and he has these, like, scabs on his neck from it, and so you can feel him when you're petting him, and she didn't have any of that. So I don't know if it was actually her fault.
Okay.
But we're working on it.
Proven guilty.
Yeah. But she's nice and they're nice, and the fleas are bad. Not like they're not like especially bad, but they're just like fleas suck.
Objectively bad.
Yeah. So we're working on that.
Wow, that's so nice. Ben, don't you have a cat story?
I do.
Neighborhood cat story.
I had an auspicious morning. I walked out of my house and I saw this little black cat slinking around the corner with its tail down. And so I walked over there just because I was like, maybe he'll run away and that's fine, or maybe he'll be like nice. And I just like right when he saw me, he like turned. I don't know if it's he or she, by the way. I've just been calling it a boy for some reason. He turned around and like meowed and then ran over to me with his tail up. Aww. And I just like put my hand out and he sniffed me a bunch and then like walked by me a couple times nuzzling me. And then started nuzzling like this rose bush that had thorns, and I made him stop doing that so he didn't hurt himself. But he was so cute. He was like a tuxedo cat. He got like the white socks and like the white spot in the front that's like makes it look like a tuxedo, you know. I decided to call the cat Charlie. I don't know if it's a boy or a girl, but I like that name for a boy and a girl, and I think it's just very fitting. But I was really hoping he was there when I got home too, but he wasn't.
I wonder if you could call him a boy, because he reminded me a little bit of Como, just in that he was like shiny and nice. But I think we should call him Benedict Cumberbund. In honor of his tuxedo-ness. That's just I didn't mean him, so I don't have a good read on this, but that's just a proposal.
That's pretty good.
Thanks.
We could
should name another.
You know what? Here we go. His middle name's Charlie.
Okay.
The thing is, one of the reasons I chose Charlie though is because I don't know what gender the cat is.
Oh, I like that.
And Charlie is a great girl's name too.
Ah, love it. Yeah, Charlotte.
Oh, and also I forgot to mention, last night after we got inside from petting the cat, I then presented my hand to Squeaks, and she sniffed it furiously. Like, she could not stop. Like, it was like the open mouth kind of sniff where she's trying to, like, understand every angle of the smell she's getting, like, for, like, a full 30 seconds. It was, I don't think she was threatened, but she was certainly fascinated.
Have you seen cats do that open mouth sniff thing before, Erin?
I don't know that I have.
It's so weird looking. It looks like they're like thinking about biting something and just not doing it. Like they're like,
I feel like I would be. I feel like I would be nervous. Very good
visual joke for a podcast.
I feel like I would be nervous that they would be thinking about biting my hand.
Yeah. Well, we get nervous about it sometimes because that's what Como will sniff Hazel. He'll like get up in her neck and like hover around with his mouth slightly open and look like he's just gonna bite her, but he's just sniffing.
I'm gonna try to describe the visual. Ben looks like a doofus.
So does Como.
And then he was also mimicking a cat sniffing. That's what I'm hoping.
Got me.
But yeah, they have like scent glands in their mouth.
Oh.
So it helps them smell better.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Mm-hmm. Cats are, it's one of those many things that cats do where it's just clear that they don't give a fuck what any other species thinks about them or what they do. And I just really love that about them.
I like how cats, when a cat's really excited that you're petting them, how they'll just nuzzle any random thing near them. I think that's really cute. Like, Ben sent us a video of this cat nuzzling this, like, I guess that was the rose bush, but it was like some random, like, branch with some leaves. And just like, I'm loving this. Let me nuzzle this fucking random thing.
I also love when, like, they like, try to nuzzle with their whole body and end up kind of, like, missing you in the process. You know what I mean? Like, they'll just barely graze you because they, like, aren't even looking and they're just, like, trying to hit you with every part of their body. Hazel does that all the time.
It's sweet.
Cats are good.
Yeah.
That's the Cats Are Good segment.
The Cats Are Good segment. Welcome to Cats Are Good.
Welcome to our new podcast, Why Cats Are Good.
Jack is stuck. Oh my god, did you hear that?
Yeah.
He's causing a scene.
Ian, can you let the Jack out? He's causing a scene. Thank you.
Was he scratching at the door?
So there's this like little I don't know if you've ever seen like they're like, it's like a little, basically like a little patch of fabric it's supposed to be like a scratching post, quote unquote, but it just hangs off of the doorknob.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And you know, they're supposed to use it just to scratch on, but they never have. I've never seen him use that.
I've never seen, we had one for Como and he never used it.
But just now he did, and he got stuck on it, both front paws. So, if that's not a scene, I don't know what it is.
I love it when cats get stuck scratching something.
Ben, I want to know how are you still doing your rock climbing thing?
I mean, I haven't had time to since I took the test on Friday because I was working on my thesis all weekend, which I sent the first draft of to my professor today. Woo!
Hell yeah!
Hey, that's exciting.
Yeah, and then I probably won't have time for the rest of the week to do it, but I will when I get back.
Oh, man. Ben, I was listening to the podcast from last week and thought of the most amazing joke that would have fit in so well, which was like, you talked about your belay certification right before I talked about getting laid off, and I could have made a belay on, belay off joke.
Oh my god.
Man, Molly and I were listening to it in the car, and I like slapped her leg and I was like, belay off. And she was like, oh man.
Damn. We both missed that.
I know. How is that possible?
I think we were too caught up in belay gay.
Yeah, I think that's probably right.
There were a lot of
ate up the belay wordplay part of our brain.
Word play.
Well, Erin, I wanted to share this with you because gosh, it's happening again.
Well, now we're not going to get any more. That's our
yeah, that's it.
Erin, I wanted to share this with you because you're not on Twitter anymore. We got a nice tweet from a loyal listener. She's at Weathermiss Twitter, Weathermiss13 on Twitter. Ashley's her name. And
that's nice.
It's a really cute GIF. I retweeted it on the WayTooBroad account, or TooBroad account, so people can see if they want to know what we're looking at. But she was excited we were talking about rock climbing last week. So I just wanted to give her a shout out and say thanks for listening, and you're cool.
Shout out, thank you, you're cool.
Ben?
Shout out, thank you, you're cool.
okay. Anybody else have upfront stuff? It can still be cat related if you
I have 2 upfront things. It's a big day.
Wow, big day. On big day.
Big day. Oh, wow, we did have another one in us.
Hey!
Look at that. It's a big day for sports today.
Sports.
It's the first day of the World Series.
The World Series. Wow, that whole thing again.
Yeah. And
didn't we just have that last year?
We sure did.
The World Series if it's only American teams.
Great question. It shouldn't be, I think.
I think, what, only American teams are called World Series?
I don't think it should be called the World Series. You know what the championships of the NBA are called? They're called the NBA Finals. I think that's what they should be called in baseball too. But
World Champions. You didn't play anybody else in the world, you flips.
Yeah, I don't know. It's dumb. But speaking of basketball, the other big thing that is today is the first. It's opening day for the basketball for NBA season. Also. And it's the first game that Kawhi Leonard is playing as a member of the Clippers. Which is really cool. But back to the World Series for a second. I would just like to put on the record that I'm rooting for the Nationals and not the Astros. Because as I have discussed on this pod, the Astros last year traded for their closer Roberto Osuna while he was still under suspension for domestic violence.
Wow.
And then when they were celebrating in their locker room during the ALCS, in which he blew a save in the top of the 9th by giving up a 2-run home run, apparently like an assistant GM of the Astros specifically like went up to 3 female reporters, including one who was wearing a domestic violence awareness bracelet, and started yelling at them about how happy he was that they got Osuna. Saying like, I'm so fucking happy we got Osuna. Just like, I can't even comprehend the just how shitty you have to be to do that.
Wow.
And just how awful. And yeah, so they suck.
Hopefully there's not several teams like, the Sox. There's the Red Sox and the White Sox. Hopefully that's not the case with the Nationals. The Red Nationals and the White Nationals. I was like, wait for it. No, he's not going to get it. I gotta say it.
Oh, it was worth it, though.
Thank you.
That was great. Oh.
I'm glad you let us try to figure it out first.
Yeah, I really wasn't getting it. I was like, other nationalities? Like, what?
Thank you.
Oh, no. That was great.
Federals?
Federal states? Yeah, so I'm rooting for the Nationals. They're winning right now, 5-2.
Nice.
Awesome. Go get them, partner.
Yeah, that's their motto.
Go get them, partner.
Do baseball teams have mottos?
Yeah,
they
sure.
should. Oh, they should. The Yankees are yeehaw, obviously.
Everyone knows that.
Red Sox are a good looking for the cranberry picking.
Red Sox are a Sweet Caroline pop pop pop.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Red Sox one though. Really.
But that's like all of the Carolina sports team songs. So that doesn't make any fucking sense. Cause like,
wait, really?
Cause it's, Sweet Caroline, because we're like in Carolina, you flip.
And then what do you do? Then what's next? Then what do you do when after good times never seem so good? What do you do?
So good!
I'm asking Erin.
We do that.
It's not a hard question.
Ba ba ba.
So good.
I didn't realize that was the thing in North Carolina too, but I guess I get it. But it's like very famously a thing at Fenway Park.
Yeah, it is.
I think it's I mean,
what's even the most famous team that North Carolina has?
I think just because you steal, culture.
Is Neil Diamond from North Carolina?
Yes.
Is he actually? I don't know where he's from.
Caroline is just a woman's name.
Carolina.
It's not what it says.
It's not Sweet Carolina. How often do you call your state North Carolina?
Oh, every day.
North Carolina.
Where do you live? North Carolina.
North Carolina.
I'm saying North Carolina, yeah? Every time you hear me say it, you're mistaken me.
He was born in Brooklyn. That's much closer.
North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Ba, 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 ba. Well, anyway.
You've never done it like we do it at Fenway.
Never.
You're stealing. It's because they're stealing our culture.
Neil Diamond is North Carolina culture.
Sweet Carolina is North Carolina culture, and that's all there is to it.
My cousin lives in Durham, North Carolina.
You just go ahead and call it Sweet Caroline. Durham, Sweet Caroline.
I want to also give a big shout out to another, but still well-deserved shout out to our middleest brother, Lucas, and his beautiful wife, Federica, who are having their second version 2.0 of their wedding ceremony on Saturday. So by the time this is out, that will have happened, and Ben and I will have both been there. So congratulations again to them. I'm sure it was a beautiful
We're trying to go 3 for 3.
We're trying to go 3 for 3, Ben and I, yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm at a bit of a disadvantage. I'm going to go to Italy, though.
Okay. Because you'd stuck in Sweet Caroline.
One for 3 is okay, I guess, but...
I would like to say you would successfully change the subject. I'm just going to bring us back. Used in sporting events. The song has been played at Fenway Park, home of the Boston Red Sox, since at least 1997, in the middle of the 8th inning, at every game since 2002. Blah, 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 blah. It's also the unofficial song of the National Football League's Carolina Panthers and the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, being played at athletic events and pep rallies. So
since when?
Yeah, there's no debate there.
Since it was written for us, okay? Stop stealing our culture.
You said that like that was like the winning point of your argument, and it just listed 2 facts.
I know. I really proved nothing on my side.
You brought us back to that.
It is our culture. So therefore, it's clearly our culture, and you are stealing it.
It's a fact, though. It is our culture.
End of story. The North always steals culture from the South. Biscuits and gravy, fried chicken,
Carpet
end of
baggers.
list.
Carpetbaggers.
Sunshine, warm seasons.
Stealing that?
Summer is Southern culture.
It is. Warmth you feel is Southern culture, and I would appreciate it if you stop stealing it. Stop reappropriating sunshine.
Well, then when it snowed a bunch in North Carolina, you were stealing our culture.
That is true, and you can have it the fuck back.
You guys, it was 91 degrees today here.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, it's gonna be like 90 all week. I can't wait to fucking leave.
Yeah, it's been 70 here in North Carolina.
That's nice.
I want it to be 50 degrees. That's the temperature I want.
It's 57 degrees here right now.
Hey, that's good too. I'll take that.
You're gonna be there.
Yeah, for like 2 days and then I'm gone.
Oh, Ben, don't end your time before it's even.
It's okay.
started.
Checkpoint wedding.
Oh, that's a good... Yeah, checkpoint wedding, checkpoint turkey.
Mm-hmm.
Well, should we pop in?
Let's pop.
Baby Ben, what's your obsession?
My obsession at long last is the book that I teased 2 weeks ago.
Ah, thank fucking God.
We have all been holding our breath for 2 weeks.
It's a book I'm going to show to you.
Oh.
First. You guys get to see it first.
Oh. Can I read it? Oh, I've heard of that person.
This book is called Movies, parentheses, and Other Things by Shea Serrano.
That's a really nice kind of cheese. It's a nutty cheese. Shea Serrano.
Shea Serrano is, if you're on Twitter, he's an excellent person to follow on Twitter. I just
said I do.
I know, and I was telling everyone else too also. He's just an extremely positive force. Actually, I first heard about him because I follow Johnny's son, another very great positive force on Twitter, and they're like buds. And I saw Shea Serrano tweet out like a GoFundMe that was for this old woman who he used to be a teacher, like an English teacher, a high school English teacher, and this woman was like basically his mentor for his first few years of teaching, and she like needed help paying a bunch of medical bills because she was really sick, and he posted her GoFundMe, and it got like all that they asked for and more within like 20 minutes.
Wow.
Because he's got like and this is like commonplace for him, is like he will very often just like signal boost GoFundMes and like tell all of his followers to go help these people out, and they like almost always will. He calls his followers the Faux Army, FOH, which stands for fuck out of here. I don't know where that came from, but I like it. He also will just like sometimes he grew up poor, and he and his wife were poor together for a long time before he like kind of started to become successful as a writer and actually start to make money. And so he'll like every now and again on Twitter be like, hey, I have an extra $300 in my Venmo account. Who wants some money who's having trouble making rent? And like literally just like give his followers money sometimes if they're struggling.
Wow.
He's just so great. And he also is he's a huge sports fan. His main job, in addition to writing books, is also he's a writer at The Ringer, which is like a sports website. But they also like he writes like his whole writing style isn't like analyzing sports. It's like or movies. In the case of this book, it's like making you feel how he feels about these things. Like he loves the San Antonio Spurs and is like very invested in them as a sports fan is. He gets like he has like all of the intense emotion of a diehard sports fan without like any of the toxic masculinity that comes with that normally.
Love it.
It's fantastic. And also like he is, even though he like grew up an NBA fan, he's like just as big of a fan of the WNBA now. He's a huge Las Vegas Aces fan and like tweets constantly like shouting about the Aces when they're not doing well and like cheering them on. Like he like interacts with all of the WNBA team Twitter accounts. They'll like tweet at him all the time when they like beat the Aces. It's really funny. There's like a whole thing. He's just great. And this book is just it's basically like a collection of 30 essays. You don't have to read it in any order. And they're all just questions. Like the subtitle is a collection of questions asked, answered, illustrated. So the whole book is also illustrated, by the guy he's worked with for a while named Arturo Torres. This is his third book. The first one was the Rap Yearbook, which I don't have. The second one is Basketball and Other Things, which I'm planning on getting shortly because I really like this book, and he said he's going to make a third and Other Things book about something that he likes. But all three have been on the New York Times bestseller list, including this one at number 1. And he and Arturo Torres are the first Mexican Americans to be 3-time New York Times bestseller list.
Wow.
Which is cool. And also Basketball and Other Things got really famous towards the end of 2017 because Obama listed it as one of his favorite books of the year.
Oh.
Yeah. So let me read you.
I follow him on Twitter also, and he follows Erin.
That's right, he does. Forgot about that.
No big deal.
The foreword is by John Leguizamo, and the afterword is by Don Cheadle. John Leguizamo. Let me read you some of the funnier chapter titles. Which movie had the more intense opening, Face Off or Finding Nemo? That's a whole chapter. He also, he was writing this book, like, he was almost done writing this book when Booksmart came out. And he loved Booksmart so much that he cut a chapter and wrote a chapter really quickly to put in the book, like, just in time. So there's a chapter called When Did You Know Booksmart Was Special?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that movie so much.
I haven't seen it yet.
Rewatched it recently. It's on streaming services now.
Do you think this movie villain would be a good hang? I think this is my favorite chapter title. Which race was white saviored the best by Kevin Costner?
So are these questions, like, did they come from...
They just came from him. Okay. They're just things he thought of. Like, there's one chapter that's called, is this movie better, the same, or worse with The Rock in it? And apparently that came from just a conversation he was having with Arturo about how much they both love The Rock. And they were talking about how they would wish they could put The Rock in more things. And then he was like, wait a minute, we kind of can. Actually, I also wanted to read you an excerpt from that.
I agree with that. He's such a likable guy.
Yeah.
Seems like one.
But, like, some of these... My favorite one is actually Tammy's Tannic. Okay.
Tammy did good in Tannic.
Let me just read you the little section about replacing Rose with The Rock. So replacing Kate Winslet with The Rock.
Oh my god.
Okay. What this movie's about. A poor young man, Leonardo DiCaprio's Jack, and a supposed to be rich young woman, Kate Winslet's Rose, fall in love after meeting on a boat. The boat hits an iceberg, causing it to sink to the bottom of the ocean. Tries they might to live, only Rose survives. Jack freezes to death in the ocean as they await rescue. Which I don't consider a spoiler, because I feel like everyone knows that ending at this point. Who gets replaced? Rose, the hapless debutante. The boat still sinks, but nobody dies because everyone that was on the Titanic just piles onto the Rock's back and he fucking swims the rest of the way to New York. A finer vessel than this one hath never existed, remarks a gentleman, sitting atop one of the Rock's latissimus dorsi muscles as they pull into port. Hear, hear, proclaims another, raising a glass of champagne into the crisp night air. Better, worse, or same? Better. That's kind of like the tone of the whole book, is it's just like... I mean, there's really silly things like that. There's also just, like, him, like I mentioned, his whole writing style is like, you don't even have to have read any of them or seen any of the movies in the book, honestly, to enjoy this book, I feel like, because his whole writing style is just like getting you to feel how excited he is about these things. And he's very effective at that. So sometimes he'll have like genuine moments where he's talking about how much a scene meant to him. And like he talks about John Leguizamo in his one-man show that was on Broadway and then apparently it was on HBO. I think it's called The Beast or something. I don't remember what it's called. But he talked about like, how much it meant to him to see that as growing up as a Latino kid, because there wasn't really like that much representation for him growing up.
Oh, no.
There are like real genuine heartfelt moments like that, and then there's like dumbass silly shit like everyone swimming on the back of the Rock in Tammy's Tannic.
Tammy's Tannic. Hannah left us and she's back now.
Oh, hello.
The video, it wasn't even, like, subtle about it. It just, like, the screen went black, and it was like, this video call has ended. I had to close the window.
We kicked you out. We were hoping you'd get the memo. Ben, I just put a hold on that book from my local lending library.
Hell yeah.
Oh.
Nice. It's very good. It's very enjoyable.
How did you tell... Oh, you just follow him on Twitter and he was like, buy my book, and you were like,
yeah,
okay.
He was promoting the shit out of it. Also, one of my favorite things that he does often is he is very political and hates Trump a lot, obviously, as we all should. And he'll like, as every famous person does, he'll always get response to anti-Trump tweets that are saying like, dude, you're like alienating a part of your fan base by doing this. And he'll always respond to them and say, if you like Trump, don't follow me and stop buying my books. I don't want your support. I don't want you to be involved with me at all.
Love it.
That's right. I saw him he was doing that the other day. You know what's funny? I didn't follow him, but I see him a lot on Twitter because he must just probably because of you, Ben. And probably there's some other people who retweet him a lot.
Yeah.
Wait, Hannah, if you're not following him and you haven't bought his books, what does that mean?
I did. I followed him.
What are you saying? You're saying you like Trump?
I just found
it goes both ways.
This was yesterday. It goes both ways. He was promoting his book. It's got the 3 emergency signs, the things pay attention to this tweet, flashers. Exactly. It says, gonna send everyone a free copy of Movies and Other Things tonight as a celebration for it being a #1 New York Times bestseller. All you gotta do to get your free copy is pay $15 for it. And then it's got his Amazon link. Take advantage of this once-in-a-lifetime deal.
Nice.
Yeah, he likes to there's a special Barnes & Noble version that came with a poster that had a bunch of different movie characters drawn as otters with otter puns. I wish I could remember any of them. I think it was the Pred Otter that was Predator, but as an otter, things like that. And he promoted that by saying buy this amazing otter poster for $17.50 and it comes with a free book.
Nice.
Yeah.
Neat.
He's just great book, great person. Very enjoyable. I like following. You know how it is. I like supporting people who are just doing good things.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah!
And I really I love being able to have I don't know, he's kind of like how Rhea Butcher is for me with baseball, where it's there's a fan that understands how problematic the things can be, but still feels very strongly about the sport.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just nice to have that for basketball now too.
Nice. Yes, because it does look like he tweets a lot about things I don't understand that appear to be related to sports. So I'm glad that
yeah, he live tweets a lot of sports and gets very excited about them.
Oh, I was sad I was yawning because I found that deeply funny, but I couldn't really express that to you because I was really deep into a yawn.
That's okay. I understand. Cool. Great obsession, Ben.
Thanks.
Great book. Great guy.
Mm-hmm.
And also, that guy sounds like a great guy.
He is great. Yeah. Guy.
Fucking gotcha.
Nice.
Because she said great guy, and I made it sound like we were talking about you.
Oh, you got me.
Gotcha.
You showed me.
Oh, you got you kind of backwards. You got me kind of.
I got both of you. That's how I do it. I got you both.
Dang, Ben, we got.
Yeah, fuck.
You got.
We're put on blast.
Oh, love blast.
Love blast. Baby, love blast.
Okay, I think we
That's
need to
gross,
retire that one.
Let's move on. I'm never saying that to you again. Let's
You said it first.
What's up, Hannah? What's your obsession?
My obsession is a video game.
Hey, it's your game.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a little story about
All about how.
Lovely lady.
So, Ian and I may have mentioned before, I'm not sure why I would have, but Ian and I, we have a TV in our living room and then we have a computer hooked up to it.
I think you have mentioned that before.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I feel like I have.
Oculus Prime?
Maybe. Quest. It's a zombie computer, meaning that I was about to throw it away several years ago. It was the computer I used in college, which at this point I graduated 10 years ago.
Which is your Sony Vaio?
Crazy thing to say. Yeah, I think it is. And
I remember that computer.
Yeah, it was the battery doesn't hold any charge anymore. It hadn't, but before I even graduated, it had to be kept plugged in all the time. And then eventually the hard drive just crapped out and it was just like not functional. So I was about to throw it away. And then Ian was like, I bet I can fix it. Don't throw that out. And I was like, you're welcome to try. And he fucking did it. And so now it's our like TV computer. So we have like the wireless mouse and stuff, and we watch things online on the computer. Well, after at least 4 years of serving this purpose, these past couple of days, it's been extremely iffy for the first time in a while. So it'll like, it runs YouTube videos okay, but if you try to watch like Netflix or HBO or any streaming service that's trying to run something like a higher quality in terms of video, it doesn't, it like will overheat and shut off.
Whoa.
First it'll like really struggle to get to like keep the video moving. It'll like kind of like digitize out and stuff. And anyway, it became impossible for us to really like start anything new after we finished Avatar. So we started looking for a new game instead. And I really wanted to play something that had like a mystery element to it. We looked at the Return of the Obra Dinn. We might still get that later, but we didn't get that.
That game looks so cool.
Yeah, it does look cool. But we got this other one. It had a demo, and it's called NeoCab.
Never heard of it.
It's not
good.
It's more of an interactive story than a full-on video game. Like, you're not like you are a cab driver, but you're never driving the cab. You're driving the conversation with people in the cab. And
fascinating.
Yeah, and based on the way that you interact with other people, that'll affect like how things play out in the story for you. I think the entire story we just finished it today, but there's multiple endings you can get. It's not like it's less like a cab and more like an Uber, because you're like choosing who you're picking up. So there's a lot of like points at which you make decisions that can change the sort of scope of the story.
I would argue that is more like a cab and less like an Uber.
I would agree with this.
What do you mean?
You're assigned who you pick up an Uber. You don't have any choice. With a cab, you're driving by people. How is that not true?
It's not true. People can choose whether they like, just like you as the person using the Uber, you are asking for whatever car, but they can choose whether they accept the people or not. That's why a passenger rating matters, because they can choose not to pick you up.
They can accept the people that they're assigned to, but the cab driver actually picks the people as they're driving by.
But it's local to them.
Thing to argue about. It doesn't matter.
It's true.
Like, when in this interface, you see a map of the whole city, and you see people's faces and their star ratings and a little blurb about them before you choose to pick them up, and you see where they want to go. Like, it's well, then that
sounds exactly like Uber.
Yeah.
I don't think Uber you can see where they want to go until you accept where you pick the pickup. But that might be dated information.
Have either of you two been Uber drivers? Quick question.
Have you?
No. Have you?
Pretty much, basically, yeah. Because I've been playing this game.
Playing a lot of NeoCab. All right, sorry. Continue, Hannah. We will stop arguing with you about dumb fucking details. Promise.
Doubtful.
But I don't promise.
Don't speak for me.
So, the basic premise of the story is it takes place in like a near future where most cars on the road are now autonomous. They're run by a company called Capra, and this person was a driver of a like Capra type ride sharing service, and then one day Capra turned all of their cars autonomous. Capra being kind of like an amalgam of like Apple and like Tesla. Sort of. Like, that's kind of the feel. So you know how Tesla can, like, patch new software into their cars? Mm-hmm. So one day, she just, like, woke up and her, like, Capra car was autonomous, and they, like, fired her, basically. And so NeoCab is, like, the last, like, job she can do like this or whatever, and there's not a lot of them left on the roads. Like as she's driving around, you see like most of the cars are Capra cars and they're driverless. And the politics around driving have gotten really complicated as well, and you learn about them through the lens of conversing with all of your different like clients and stuff. And like also she's new to the city, and the particular city that she's in is like ultra automated. It's like a hub of Capra type stuff. So like she's coming across like new big city technology that she's not used to, different types of people, different ways that this like sort of like over, you know, Capra seems to have like a hand in like a lot of different areas of the whole city and the whole like culture and stuff. And then, and she's like kind of learning about that as she goes. And at the same time, there's a mystery element because she came there to stay, to move in with her best friend that she hadn't seen in a year or so. And like pretty much as soon as she gets there, her best friend like disappears. And so not only is she like just trying to like make enough money to like have a place to sleep, because she doesn't even know like where her friend lives or where she is. She's also trying to figure out like where her friend is and trying to get leads on that. All while she's just driving people around in a cab. So you start to get to, it's neat because actually I thought that would be the most interesting part, the like finding the friend part. It sounds like it would be, but like, it's actually, what's kind of fun is that like the writing is really, it's really good. Like I would say the visuals are like, they're attractive, but they're not over, like they didn't take pains to make everything that they describe on the screen actually visible, you know, like they'll talk about like how the person walked away from the cab, but like they won't show you anything special. Like the city streets all kind of look the same, and most of the animations are just like simple kind of like face movements and like small gestures and things like that. But it seems like a lot of where they put the writing, I mean, where they put the focus was on the writing, because it's not, I think this could be really, really boring if the writing was kind of repetitive. Like I can pick up the same passenger more than once in this story. I can pick them up. I had the same passenger in my car like 3 or 4 different times. And every time they get in the car, they very consistently like remember me, the last thing that we talked about. I learn more about them.
That's
cool.
Like
it drives the story forward. You know, you make friends with some people that you drive.
I like the art style.
The art style is really nice. I mean, it's one thing is there's no voice acting, so you have to read everything, all the conversations and stuff.
That's really surprising for like a conversation based.
Yeah,
game.
I was at first I was really kind of bothered by it, but I think I probably would prefer that there was voice acting. Like that would be my preference if they ever like made another one. I think this game is actually relatively new. But
looks like it came out October 3rd.
Yeah. So maybe if they get a chance to do a sequel, maybe, you know, if it does well, maybe they would do one that has voice acting. But I think probably because there are so many different branching storylines and there are like so many different sort of things they'd program, it might have been just the more economical option to just have it be written. But they do a good job of keeping the text like on screen long enough. Like they do let you, they let it linger, but they keep it moving, and they'll let you like, also, you know, move faster if you want to.
That can definitely, adding voice acting when like you don't necessarily need it can limit text or speech options. Like in Fallout 4 very famously had like everything voice acted. That was like one of the things they advertised about it. But one of the things that like diehard Fallout fans loved was that like in New Vegas and Fallout 3, there were so many different text options and conversation paths you could take. But in Fallout 4, even though like you had some choices, a lot of times conversations would end in the same place because they only had so many lines voice acted and they wanted all of voice acted. So that kind of thing can happen. It can like limit your branches like you were talking about.
Yeah. I was also just thinking it also would limit, like, it's probably easier to translate it if it's only written versus trying to find voice actors for different languages.
That's true.
Do you think because of the branching, the nature of the branching, it's kind of like a choose your own adventure? Do you think it would be hard to keep a consistent tone if it were like voice acted? Maybe that's not a good question, but you know, like if you could suddenly piss off a passenger, would it be difficult to like voice act those segments that are mixed and matched and keep a consistent tone? I don't know.
Like it might sound kind of jumpy in terms of like the mood of the speaker. Yeah.
Yeah, because emotion is really important to it. Actually, like part of the sort of weird, like, what is the word that I'm looking for? Like surveillance.
Boob.
Yeah. Like, it's like panopticon. Is that the word?
Usually works for me.
Panopticon?
Yeah, like, you know, I think that's like said. A government system where the government is just like always watching you.
It can mean whatever you want. You made that word up.
I didn't.
You invented it, so you can define it.
Oh, Pentagon.
Panopticon is a type of institutional building and a system of control designed by the English philosopher and social theorist. Well, that doesn't tell me what it is at all, dude. I think that's more of a type of building that's made so that you can see it, like what's going on with everyone. Like it's kind of like the way that a lot of prisons are built is like so you can see as much as possible from like observation decks and stuff.
Gotcha.
But like part of the weird sort of like you're always being watched feeling about the whole place, you know, like the cars will like between the cameras in the streets and the automated cars, like there's always something scanning your face, like knows where you are, you know, kind of like the outrage that people felt and are still feeling about like traffic cameras and getting like sent speeding tickets in the mail and stuff. Like it's that, but like you'll get pulled over by like a robot cop and he'll tell you that you just had a moving violation, like, you know, a while ago and like give you a ticket for it. But like, oh, if you make a donation to this charity event that the thing does, then you don't have to have a ticket. And then that's like a decision you have to make if you're going to like, you know, so.
Wait, so the robot cops are dirty?
Yeah. They are.
It's fucked up.
Yeah. But
robots are as only good as their developers. They're been.
Wow. That's right.
That's profound.
But there's jewelry that a lot of people wear called
because they like it.
Grids.
It's pretty.
Because it changes. It's like mood jewelry, but it works basically. It's like changes color and lights up different colors based on how you're feeling, and depending on that, it's a way for you to know that so that you can control it by the way that you're like doing things. Because if you're feeling too strongly in any particular direction, like too sad or too excited or too like happy or too sad, angry
or too excited,
then sometimes you can't respond in certain ways. Like you may have the option, but when you try to choose it, it'll be like, I'm too pissed off to say that right now, like something like that, and you can't choose it. Or you may get extra speech bubble options based on being in a particularly good mood or something like that. So emotion is a really important part of it, and it's something that you are kind of supposed to be keeping an eye on all the time. So that is a good point about the voice acting.
Wait, did you say
not being able to keep up with
your
that.
character is always wearing a feel grid, or you can choose to get one or not?
She's always wearing it.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's really, I think, like, I found the story very engrossing and interesting. I found the writing very good. I really came to love a lot of the characters. Some of it's very funny. There's this one woman who calls herself a quantum witch. She's like a quantum statistician, and she's like really weird and loopy and like fun and like just a joy to be around basically. And you just like, you know, it's not as a game, as a video game. It's not like really a game, but it's like, it was very engrossing to play. And I was thinking about it all day today, like wanting to come back and like get to the end of it. And now that we've done that, I want to go back and play it through again. Actually, I think Ian's doing that right now to try to like find out what more of the endings are and stuff. So
cool. It's like a video story or something.
It is like it's very like choose your own adventure-y. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. And I think the fact that there are so many options and so many different like paths that it can take, it's sort of part of the point of the game. And it's also obviously adds to replayability. So it's really cool.
Yeah. Neat.
And it's thought provoking as well. Mm-hmm. So I would recommend it.
I would say that's dope as hell.
That sounds so fun.
Yeah, we have it on Switch. Erin, what's your obsession?
Cool. My great obsession, Hannah. My obsession, I'll keep it short and sweet. I'm halfway through a book. 'Tis the season. It is Stephen King's novel, Misery.
Ooh.
I have never read a whole Stephen King book.
Yeah, listen up. This book is really scary. It's not yet supernatural scary. It's just like fucked up people scary, which is
sometimes
delicious
worse.
And worse. Yeah. It's really scary. I am totally engrossed in it. Haven't watched the movie. I'm really excited to finish it to watch the movie. I heard the movie's great. Read this like for 2 hours the other night before bed. Had terrible dreams.
Wait,
would not recommend.
Wasamanu?
You know, we're not doing Wasamanu. We just haven't been doing it. Here's my truth. I don't like scary movies.
Weird tradition for you to have then.
Yeah, no, for a newer listener, Wasamanu is something Molly and I usually do every year, and it stands for watch a scary movie every night until Halloween. Wasamanu. And I just really don't like scary movies. I don't like horror movies. I feel traumatized by them. So, you know, there's some that are kind of fun to get spooked at. Excuse me for saying the podcast that betrayed us his name. But yeah, we're not really doing Wasamanu. You know, we've been busy. We've been playing Skippo and everything. So,
did I tell you guys I saw Midsummer?
Oh my god!
I don't think you did.
I don't want to see that.
It's scary. You wouldn't like it.
Did you like it?
I don't like it.
But it's not as well. I don't think it's as scary as Hereditary. But I have never seen Hereditary. So.
Hannah, have you seen Hereditary? You can't say that.
What are you even talking about then?
You don't even know what you literally don't know what you're talking about. I think you're probably right, though, because
I also haven't seen Hereditary.
Because nothing can be as bad as... Because I wish I haven't seen Hereditary. I'm haunted by it. Anyway. So I kind of like this because the not supernatural scary, for some fucking reason, is less scary than the supernatural scary. You know, why is it scarier that, you know, real people could be really fucked up and do terrible things too? Why is that less scary than, you know, things that literally don't exist doing terrible things to you? I don't know. Ask my brain. It doesn't know. So I feel like this is, you know, it has some notable elements for a Stephen King book. One, it, you know, so far, and I'm, you know, a little less than halfway through, there's no, supernatural thing. The other thing is, if you'll note, it's not a million fucking pages. Like, Stephen King books are fucking huge. So I was like, I want to read kind of a spooky book, but I don't want to, like, commit a year of my life to do it. So, anyway, that's why I picked that. Picked this up from my local lending library. I'm really enjoying it. Check it out after I watch it. After I watch it page by page with my eyes, I'm gonna watch the moving picture with Kathy Bates.
Nice.
Yeah.
What is the premise of it? I don't know anything about that.
Shall I read you the back?
Sure.
Back of it. Best-selling novelist Paul Sheldon has finally met his biggest fan. Her name is Annie Wilkes, and she is dismayed to discover Paul's plans to kill off Misery Chastain, the heroine of his beloved series. Annie is more than a rabid reader. She is Paul's nurse, tending his shattered body after an automobile accident. She is also his captor, imprisoning him in her isolated house where no one knows where he is. Annie wants Paul to write his greatest work, just for her. She has a lot of ways to spur him on. One is a needle, another is an axe, and then there's the blowtorch. Winner of the Bram Stoker Award for Best Novel, a classic film starring Academy Award winner Kathy Bates, and recently adapted for the stage starring Bruce Willis. That's funny. Misery is one of King's most brilliant and formidably unnerving books ever. So it's basically, like the book starts with Paul Sheldon kind of like coming to, and he's in a bedroom and he's hooked on a codeine-based drug and his legs are shattered, and he quickly realizes that he's in the house of this super crazy lady who's really fucking scary, and is and it's just like this really crazy very suspenseful book. There was this one scene where she's out of the house and he's kind of trying to get to something, and so a lot of the tension of the scene is that she could come home at any second and like catch him, and that would be like very bad, very, very bad things would happen. And I'm kind of reading this, and like Molly comes home and the car door slams like in real life, and I'm just like, I'm really startled by it. So anyway, it's a really good book, very enjoyable.
Neat.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Isn't there a Family Guy episode that is like a parody of Misery or
Probably.
Something?
I feel like it was very, very culturally relevant for a long time.
Because that sounded familiar to me.
Yeah, I definitely I mean, that movie, I think that movie is like, it's a classic movie.
Yeah.
So I definitely knew of it because of the movie. I haven't seen the movie.
I think there's an episode of Punch Up the Jam where Miel sings the entire plot of Misery.
Do you think that at any point during the advertising of that book or movie, they use the term Misery Loves Company?
Gosh, it's possible.
Gotta be, right?
I think it's Misery Business. When they do Misery Business, I think that's how she punches it up. She makes it all about, you know the song Misery Business?
It's got miseries, take it from the top.
It's got a body like an hourglass, it's ticking like a clock. Yeah, it's funny. It's coming back to me.
The movie has a 90% of Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a classic. I haven't seen it. I'm excited to.
After you've read the book and watched the movie, I'll send you the song, and it'll probably be very funny for you.
Perfect. Sounds great.
Also, for the record, I'm afraid to watch Hereditary. So, that's on the record
should be.
now.
That is an appropriate reaction. I would lean into that fear and let it carry you to the end of your life, having never watched it.
Okay. Yeah. So
that's
I just wanted to admit that. Thank you.
Yeah.
First, read Misery. Second, never watch Hereditary.
I feel like we should have a better tradition, me and Molly, like watch a gay movie every night until Pride.
Wagman up.
Wagman up.
Wagman up. Watch a gay movie at Wagman up.
Wagman up.
I'm gonna poach this. I keep wanting to say it. I'm gonna pitch this to Molly. Poach. I'm like, poach. Nope. It's not poach. I'm gonna poach it. It's not poach. I'm gonna poach it. Erin, it's not poach. I was reading a lot about poached eggs in the Bon Appetit today. I'm gonna poach it to Molly. God damn it. I'm gonna pitch some eggs. Oh, fuck.
Cool. So, Misery by Stephen
Poach an egg every night until Halloween.
Pag? Wait.
Poach a egg.
Pay.
It's pain new. Pain. Poach an egg every night until Halloween. Pain.
I'm gonna poach an egg every day until Halloween. That's paid.
The double E really makes this acronym hard to work.
Got paid. Eggy.
Oh my gosh. We should go to sleep.
Let's go to sleep.
It's
wrap
fucking
this.
Tuesday.
Let's wrap this egg up.
Okay. Ben, what's your homework?
My homework is yawn when you're tired.
Yawning.
Second homework, follow Shea Serrano on Twitter. Buy this book that I'm showing to the listeners that they can't see, called Movies and Other Things.
Big chunky book.
Is it okay that I'm getting it from my local lending library?
Sure. That's fine.
Great.
Thanks.
I'm sure Shea Serrano would love you to support your local library. My Twitter's nicely approved Ben. Check it out.
What?
What's all about?
My homework is, if you want to, if it sounded like a good type of game for you, play NeoCab on Switch. I think it could be a good, maybe not a good Subway game because you'd have to put your Switch really close to your face to read it.
Very monocle.
Very monocle. My Twitter is Anthropology, and that's also my Instagram. And I have another podcast called So Dreamy. We talk about dreams, sleepwalking, sleep talking, and other sleep disturbances. And that's it. Erin, what's your homework?
Hello. My homework is, if you're interested, to check out the book Misery by Stephen King. Either literally check it out from your local lending library, or buy it, or get an ebook, or whatever you want to do.
Excuse me.
Yeah, it's scary. It's freaky deaky. But 'tis the season, you know?
Oh my god.
This is a season to be jolly.
'Tis the season to hiccup.
I got hiccups.
It's got hiccups. I'm not on any social media that I want to tell you about. But if you're looking to hire a web developer, hit me up. Okay.
If you're not sure where to hit her up because she didn't give you any way to reach her, you can.
What that I want to tell you about.
You can contact WayTooBroad and we'll make sure that you get in touch. Here's some ways you can contact us if you'd like to hire Erin as a web developer. Our phone number, voicemail only, is 774-326-0420.
Blaze
it with the job offer.
Our Twitter is at TooBroadPod. Our Instagram is at WayTooBroad. Our email is waytoobroad@gmail.com. We have a website that Erin made. It's a great example of the type of work that she can do on a $0 budget at WayTooBroad.com. Probably more than $0 out of your pocket.
Not much more.
For anything you want. EarnBen.com for anything you need. Another great work of art.
Mm-hmm. Anything you need.
Yeah.
Anything you need.
Bookmark queerworksmap.com and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Just do it. I'm tired of soft selling this. Just do it. Oh, that's it. We love you.
We love you. Let's extinguish that podcast candle.
The podcast candle is extinguished. Don't tell me what to do.
Goodbye.
Because I wanted to extinguish.
Go to bed.
Because I was going to.
That's what I'll tell you what to do.
Bye.